What's up, creators? It's your boy Mad Mike. On today's episode, we're going to be kind of visiting the front end on the 1974 Plymouth Barracuda. I'm going to update you guys on where I'm at with the firewall, the rust repair, and we're going to be mocking up some inner fenders. So stay tuned, check it out. Alright guys and girls, today I'm going to walk around the CUDA, show you where I'm at with the project. Got a couple of updates here. If you're not up to date with this car, it's a 1974 Plymouth Barracuda that I rescued from Northern Ontario in Canada. Started off with just a shell, started acquiring parts, interior, front end, motor out of an RV. It's a 440. So that's what this project is. So for all you OG subscribers, let's just dive in. I'll show you where I'm at with the progress on the front end of the CUDA. All right, there she is in all her glory. Front end is what we're working on, or have been working on for the past week here. Things I've done, we got a fender on, and that is all thanks to a customer at the restoration shop that I work at for donating his old inner fenders and radiator core support, whatever you want to call that. We plasma cut it off of his car, and as you can see, it's not welded on. And we cut it down near the pinch welds. That way I can just add a strip and re-weld it. The only thing that's missing is the areas where the bolts for the hood hinges go. So we're gonna have to make a template of that off of his inner fenders and refab that up out of some steel. That way I can have my hood brackets on and have my hood functional, which we have the AAR CUDA hood up there. That's gonna be going on the car. So he was nice enough to give me his old inner fenders. They're in pretty decent condition, minus missing the hood hinge areas, but not a big deal. I'm a fabricator, so I can whip up some brackets and fix up the firewall and attach everything nice and solid. There's still some old shock towers that need to get fully cut out, and the shock towers that are underneath it are in good shape. So I've kind of just been walking around the front end this week, mocking stuff up, thinking about what I can do next. So the front end is what we're going to be working on next, mostly. I want to finish this, focus on the front end, and then we'll move to the back, fix the rear frame rails, and finish the whole underside, drivetrain, and then we'll start on the exterior and then the interior of the car. So that's kind of, there's more updates on that, but while I'm talking about the front end, let's talk about the motor. This is a 440 big block that I got out of a 1978 motorhome. It's mounted inside the engine bay. It's on the engine mounts, as you can see down there. New mounts and bushings. And the customer that we're building a CUDA for at the shop, who gave me these inner fenders, also was nice enough to give me his old transmission mount support. It was missing some pieces, so I had to fabricate some extra pieces to actually hold my transmission mount. But let's just crawl underneath here. Let's see if we got enough light, and I'll show you what I actually did here. All right, lights, camera, action. Let's crawl underneath the CUDA. All right, you're coming along for the ride. Okay. So you can kind of see what I've done here. The transmission is fully mounted, and right over here on this end is what I had to fabricate. Sandblasted it, got it all painted up. We still got a lot of work underneath here to do, but all right. So looking from the front side of the bracket, you can see what I had to fabricate up. Just a little tab for the transmission mount to slip in and position in the factory location. So that's all done, taken care of. So the motor is solid mounted, the transmission is solid mounted. Well, not solid, it's got bushings, but I mean, it's in the car. That's what I mean by solid. So let's turn off these lights and continue on with the front end updates. So that's pretty awesome. The Plymouth CUDA has a 440 big block mounted with a transmission, 727 mounted. All we need is the drive shaft, and it'll connect to the 9 1/4 rear end that I have in the rear. But let's jump back up front here, and I'll keep going on with the updates. You might have seen in the last episode when I was trying to fit this, the reason I wanted to fit it was to see if my fender well headers would fit. So if we go over here, these are the fender well headers I have, and I'll try to add a picture of what these look like in the engine bay here. Insert picture. Boop. There you go. So that's a photo, and as you can see, it looks badass, but it's gonna be too much work to make these fit and clearance everything, so we're not gonna go that route. Photo delete. And we're gonna be just putting in some stock manifolds for the time being. So I ordered a set of stock manifolds. I'm gonna go pick them up this weekend. They're about 2 hours away, factory, and they'll dump, boom, and boom. That way I can hook up my exhaust, and when I finish the underside of the car and I put the motor back in, we're not dealing with issues with the fender well headers. They were initially gonna get in the way of where my hood hinge brackets go, so I'd have to do like 4 hood pins and a quick release hood if I went that route. So I want to have functioning hood hinges and clearance for the tires. That's another thing. When they turn in, they hit the headers. Then I'd have to remove also some under brackets underneath there, which is a part of the frame because it's a unibody car, and I don't want to do that just to have fender well headers. Stock manifolds are coming in this weekend. For today, I'm gonna remove this fender. By the way, this fender's just sitting here on the bolts. You can see the stud there. And this whole front end, I just lined up roughly with where we cut the old one off and kind of lined up some spot welds. You guys gotta check this out. So the fender's just hanging on there. I didn't do anything. Look at this door gap. That is not bad, focus. That is a pretty good door gap for just having the fender sitting on there. Obviously, if I bolt everything in place, yeah, I'm happy with that. So that means that the front end, the inner fenders, core support, etc., is in a good position to get welded in. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the fender, remove the whole front assembly. This is all attached to this, and we're gonna start fixing the firewall. There's big patches on both sides. I've already peeled that one back to reveal the rust. So let's just assess the damage, pull up these fenders, this whole front end, and see where we're at.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.
Okay guys and girls, we got everything removed from the front end of the car. We're about to start assessing the firewall, see what kind of damage we got, and see what we got to do to repair it. There's gonna be a little bit of metal fab that I'm gonna have to do in both corners. One side had a fiberglass patch, the other side has an aluminum galvanized sheeting patch. So let's remove it and see what's underneath it. So yesterday I went ahead and removed the patch on this side here. There's a big fiberglass patch covering up this whole area for the past 3 years, and I've always wondered what was beneath it, if it was completely rotted out or not. Here's the patch here. So 2 good things that this patch did. One, there's the light. One, it gave me a good template of the new patch I got to make out of sheet metal. So it was all fiberglass and perfectly formed to that corner, which actually I could probably put on there again. There we go. So the patch was covering up that entire corner there. So that'll be a good template for me when I get my sheet metal and I gotta round off the edges and whatnot. It gives me something to form my pattern to. But the cool thing was, when I pulled it off, let's see if we can go back into the light, it pulled off some original paint with it. And if you guys can see that, that is pretty cool. It's a very metallic-y green. I'm not sure what the paint code for that is, but that would have been a good looking car. It would have been that green with white interior. So after removing that patch there, it revealed this. The upper part, or driver's side part of the cowl, is completely rotted out. Not a big deal. And then it also trickles down around here and around the side. So what am I gonna do? Well, this is all good sheet metal over here. I'm basically gonna cut out all of this, this whole panel here. I might even just remake it. This panel's not in terrible condition, but it'll just be easier for me to remake that as well. So we're gonna make a new cowl section, a new door support section. I don't know what you wanna call that, but we're gonna do this, this, and this at a brand new sheet metal. But on this side here, I've been very curious about this side here. Right now, this used to be an ex-drag car, so they just plated up the firewall and had their battery cables going through, oil pressure gauge, but they didn't have wiper motors or anything else, no heater box, nothing. So behind here, I have no idea if there's good sheet metal or not. I have looked on the back side, and it looks pretty decent, but let's pull this panel off. There's a bunch of rivets, so we're gonna go ahead and drill out all these rivets, remove this panel, and we're gonna see how this corner looks. Hopefully it's better than that side, but not a big deal. I like metal working, so we're gonna fix whatever needs to be fixed. But the overall goal after removing this panel here is repairing the frame rails, which is just the driver's side inside behind here that I gotta repair. So I'll clean up the frame rails, weld up and finish up the firewall. And then once we get the firewall and frame rails repaired, we'll go ahead and grab this front clip, weld it all in place, and then we can finally paint it, put the motor back in for good. Okay, so we're getting super close to removing that whole patch. I just got a couple of rivets down the far side of the passenger side. So let's undo those rivets and reveal what's below the patch. We're all drilled out. Let's go ahead and reveal what's behind door number 2. Okay, let's assess the damage behind door number 2. And it's not too bad. Pretty similar to the driver's side, where we got a bunch of rot in the lower of the cowl area. That's where the water drips down and pools up. You'll see mice and squirrels and leaves and debris builds up inside there. Stops it from draining. Here's a drain hole here, so those get clogged up. So we're gonna have to repair the upper portion of the cowl again. This whole seam has come loose all the way down here, so we'll just basically make, we'll go ahead and make the exact same patch panel for this side and mirror it to that side over there, because we're gonna have to replace not the whole panel but this whole edge. And basically this is all good metal down here, but up in here we want to cut all the bad metal out and fab up a new patch panel. So not as bad as I was thinking, but it's still work. So that's pretty awesome. The damage is not as bad as I was thinking. Check out the patch panel. So they used a piece of galvanized sheet metal on this side here, and it held up good, and they did a nice job actually shaping it. That would give me a great template for what I need to patch up. So I can go ahead and order up some sheet metal and use this as a template, and then just have to fab up these upper cowl areas here, and then I can weld all those patch panels in. Then we'll carry on to the frame rail. But that's pretty awesome. So now you guys are up to date on where I'm at with the 1974 Plymouth Barracuda project. We're gonna be turning this car into like an AAR tribute. That's the game plan. Whether we do a full-on nice restoration or we just make a ratty looking AAR CUDA, we still don't know yet. So stay tuned and find out. Alrighty, so that's gonna be it for today's episode. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao, ciao.